It was a stormy evening when Tyler, a lifeguard at a small beach, saw something he had never expected. The waves were high, the wind strong, and most of the tourists had left the beach, seeking shelter from the growing storm. Tyler was wrapping up his shift when he spotted a figure struggling in the water. Without a second thought, Tyler sprinted toward the water. His heart raced and adrenaline surged through his veins. The figure was a woman tangled in the undertow, flailing helplessly. Without hesitation, he dove into the raging sea and swam toward her. The waves were relentless. Tyler fought against the current, each stroke harder than the last. As he reached her, he saw the terror in her eyes. She was panicking, gasping for air, unable to keep herself afloat. "You're going to be okay," Tyler shouted over the roar of the waves, trying to reassure her. "I've got you." With all his strength, Tyler wrapped his arms around her and swam back to the shore. The water crashed against them, making it difficult to stay on course. But Tyler wasn't about to give up. His only focus was getting her to safety. After what felt like an eternity, Tyler finally reached the shore, dragging the woman onto the sand. He collapsed beside her, breathing heavily, his chest aching from the strain of the rescue. The woman coughed violently, spitting out seawater. She lay there for a few moments, trying to catch her breath. Tyler sat beside her, watching over her, still catching his own breath. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice weak but full of gratitude. Tyler nodded, exhausted but relieved. "It's my job," he said, trying to sound nonchalant despite the rush of emotions coursing through him. She looked up at him, her eyes full of gratitude, but also something else, something deeper. "I don't know what I would have done without you," she said quietly. Tyler helped her sit up, offering her his jacket to warm her. As he did, he noticed how beautiful she was. Her wet hair clung to her face. But even then, there was something about her, something captivating. She looked out of place here, on this beach, in her expensive clothes and polished appearance. "Are you okay?" Tyler asked, his concern obvious. The woman nodded, wiping her face. "I will be. Just, I don't know how to thank you." Tyler smiled. "No problem. It wasn't a big fix." She glanced down at her phone again, seemingly lost in thought. Tyler noticed how vulnerable she seemed. Despite her elegant appearance, she appeared to be someone under a lot of pressure. After a few moments of silence, she looked up at him. "You know, I've never met anyone like you. You're different from the kind of people I usually deal with." Tyler, still catching his breath, chuckled awkwardly. "What do you mean by that?" She bit her lip, clearly hesitating before speaking. I'm not just anyone. I'm actually the CEO of a major tech company. We've been looking for someone who's good at fixing things, someone reliable. I like what you did with my car, and I'd like to offer you a job." Tyler was stunned. He'd worked in this garage for years, never imagining that someone with her status would offer him anything, let alone a job. "You want me to work for you?" She nodded slowly, her expression serious. "I can pay you much more than what you're making here, and you'll get access to something more exciting. We need someone with your skills, Tyler. Someone who can actually fix things." Tyler blinked, still in shock. I, I don't know what to say." She smiled, though it was tinged with a hint of sadness. "I get it, but I see something in you, Tyler. You've got potential, a different kind of potential. You've got honesty, integrity. Those are rare in my world. I need someone like you." Tyler's gaze shifted, torn between the life he had built and the life that was being offered to him. As he stood there, he couldn't help but feel an undeniable connection to Rachel. Her vulnerability, the way she carried herself despite her power, made her more real in his eyes. She wasn't just a businesswoman. She was someone who understood the value of hard work and honesty. "Why me?" Tyler asked, finally looking up. "Why someone like me?" Rachel smiled softly. "Because, Tyler, I see a man who's capable of greatness, and you don't even know it yet." She reached into her purse and handed him her business card. "Think about it. I'll give you some time. But don't wait too long. Opportunities like this don't come every day." As she walked away, Tyler stood still, the business card in his hand like a beacon of change. But something was different. He wasn't just thinking about the job anymore. He was thinking about her. There was an unexpected spark between them, something neither of them had expected. A poor mechanic and a billionaire CEO. What were the chances? Days passed, and Jack found it increasingly hard to focus on his work. The small garage that had always felt like home now felt oddly confining, the walls pressing in as he kept thinking about Rachel's offer. He had helped countless people in his life, but no one had ever offered him a chance like this. The idea of working for a powerful CEO, someone whose world was so far removed from his own, seemed surreal. Every time he picked up a wrench, his mind drifted back to Rachel. Her smile, her words, the genuine warmth in her voice. It had been a simple repair, just another day on the job. But something about that moment had felt different. Something had sparked between them. And Jack couldn't help but wonder if this was the opportunity he had been waiting for, or if it was a mistake. Could he leave behind everything he knew for a life in a world of technology, business deals, and million-dollar decisions? The phone call came at noon, interrupting Jack's thoughts. He almost didn't recognize the number, but the moment he answered, he knew who it was. "Jack, it's Rachel," her voice came through, steady and warm. "I know you've been thinking about it. I want to offer you a chance to meet my team and see the office. Come by tomorrow, and we'll talk about the next steps." Jack stood up, heart pounding. "You really want me there? After everything?" "I do," Rachel replied. "I believe in you, Jack. I know you'll be the one to help us make a real difference. You just need to see it for yourself. Let me show you what I see in you." The next day, Jack was dressed in his best clothes, which admittedly wasn't much. He had no suits, no fancy shoes, just the same boots he wore when working on cars. But Rachel had insisted, and he wanted to at least try to make a good impression. As he drove through the city, the towering glass buildings began to make him feel small. He felt out of place, and the world around him seemed foreign, the people hurrying to meetings, gliding through the streets with a kind of confidence he didn't have. Finally, he reached the building. It was enormous, standing taller than anything he'd ever seen, the entrance guarded by glass doors that opened automatically as he approached. Inside, sleek, modern furniture filled the space, and everyone around him moved with purpose. He felt like an outsider in a world he couldn't quite understand. As Jack walked into the elevator, the walls seemed to close in. His palms were sweaty. He had no idea what to expect. He was a mechanic. What did he have to offer in a world of cutting-edge technology? The elevator doors opened, and Rachel stood there, smiling at him. She looked confident, but there was warmth in her eyes that made Jack feel slightly more at ease. "Welcome to my world," she said with a wink. "Don't worry, you'll fit right in." She led him through the high-rise, showing him the bustling offices where people were working hard on laptops and phones. There were brainstorming sessions happening in the open spaces, and the energy in the air was palpable. Jack felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of it all. This was a world of high stakes, big money, and innovation. A far cry from the quiet garage he knew so well. As they passed the rows of desks, Rachel led him into a large conference room. The walls were lined with windows, and the view of the city below was breathtaking. Jack couldn't believe he was standing here, in a room like this, surrounded by people who looked so confident, so polished. And yet, there was something comforting about Rachel's presence, something that made him feel like maybe he didn't belong in a place like this, but she believed in him. That belief made all the difference. "Here's where the magic happens," Rachel said as she gestured to the room. "This is where we make decisions, where we shape the future, and I want you to be a part of it, Jack." Jack's mind was spinning. He had never been part of anything this important. But the more Rachel spoke, the more he realized something. This wasn't just about the job. This was about the opportunity to make a real impact, to use his skills, the ones he'd honed over years of working with his hands, to build something bigger, something that could change lives. After the tour, Rachel led Jack to a small office where they could talk. There was a serious look on her face now, one that showed just how much she believed in him. She sat across from him, her hands folded on the table, and met his gaze. "Jack, I've been watching you for a while now. Not just the way you fix that wheelchair, but the way you carry yourself, the way you work. You're not just a mechanic. You're someone who gets things done. And we need people like you. Jack shifted uncomfortably in his seat. I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I've never been in a business like this. I know it's a big leap, Rachel said, her voice steady. But that's why I'm of